so let me slide things about a little. Hope you're all having a great day. I'm having a good one. Let's get some adjustments made. There we go. Much better. I'm having a day. Not home. Always better if I'm at home, but all right. Gotta make the donuts, right? Gotta make that money. Make that loot. So it's been a good day for me. I had a crazy work incident, which I'll talk about here in a moment. That I could talk about because it doesn't involve the people I take care of. It involves someone that I work with. So I'll tell that story. Yeah, look at that. Commander Thunder. Favorite commentator. Bam, me. Two things we could talk about today. We could talk about bad Trump. There's some bad Trump I want to talk about. The signals leak. That's primarily it. And then there's bad conservative influencers and SNAP benefits. We'll start with the former and get to the latter. But as always, we'll give people a chance to come in. Now, one thing that I did stupid, I've been lying to you all like crazy lately. I told you I now had a black hat I was gonna wear. I left the black hat at the mother-in-law's place, so hopefully Wednesday I'll be streaming with the black hat. We're hoping. That's where, 1 second. Sorry, phone business there. Well, door, I guess. We get a lot of Jehovah Witnesses that knock on our door here at work. And I try to be very polite, but it's in a healthcare setting, it's not really appropriate to have guests like that. Regardless of if I agree with your religious message or not, it's not my place to say that. If the people I support want visitors, that's fine. But sometimes you get these, you can always tell because it's like most people that are family, friends, they're knocking on the door early in the day. So usually you could tell if it's a later person, it's something like that. Or sometimes you'll get the occasional Girl Scout cookies, things like that. Anyways, black hat, should have it on Wednesday. I also told everyone that I was hopefully going to cure my audio issues on my mobile streams. I think most of that's probably coming because when I'm not at home, I'm using 5G to stream, and I don't think that that's able to keep up by the end of an hour stream. So I bought a little adapter to hook into my iPhone to the Ethernet. Unfortunately, I forgot that at home. So next week, hopefully I'll have that. So I lied to everyone about my hat, lied to everyone about having that. Corey Barton for $2 says, shout out to JV for staying solid for America first. Yes, I agree. Kudos to JD, totally agree. So we'll talk about some of that. The work issue that I have. Let's see what you all think about this. Come into work, and obviously there's a person a coworker of mine, who's here when I'm coming in, and then we got to do some like crossover stuff, And I got into the kitchen after I'm here like 20 minutes, and there is what looks to me to be someone had an accident on the floor in the kitchen. And it is not good. I didn't look at it closely. It just looked very, didn't look like urine, the other stuff, right? That's what it looked like to me. And I'd been here for like 25 minutes, and I'm talking to my coworker, and I was like, oh man, what's going on out here? And sometimes anything could happen in the home healthcare setting. So I'm not rushing to judgment. I thought maybe it had occurred while we were doing our crossover or something like that. And my coworker's like, "Oh, no, 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 that's just a milkshake I spilled." And I was like, 30 minutes ago? What? Like, you just gotta, you just gotta leave milkshake just on the floor? Here, he just forgot. He spilled it and then came in and got busy with something. And then I came in and he forgot that he was getting mop water ready. But I like, that wasn't really a defense. Oh, it's just milkshake. Like, okay, you still can't leave it just laying on the floor, right? There's my funny work story of the week. So we got it taken care of, no problem. Run the mop, then you get the like Swiffer mop, bam, we're good. But yeah, so there you go. There's my fun, not too gross work story for the week. We'll start with the bad Trump stuff. I tell my supervisor anything to get my coworker in trouble, and then instead of working half the week, I'll be working 365 days. So I think that we can handle a little miscommunication when it comes to cleaning up something in the kitchen. Not a big deal whatsoever. But I assure you, I, in no way, shape, or form, I like my coworker a lot, and I do not want to see him get in any trouble whatsoever. Not that he does anything to warrant getting in trouble, but if there was something, I would be very hesitant because that's basically a sentence for me to be working nonstop. Not true, Ben. It's the Pirates. My Pittsburgh Pirates, let's hope they win one or two series before their season's over, as always. So let's talk bad Trump. There's a lot going on recently that's not the biggest. I think ball fumbling by the Trump administration. I've talked about the Khalil thing. I'm not too happy with the due process. You know, I just think they could do a better job. Like they're really. I don't buy all the claims you're hearing that, oh, there's so many of these people that got sent to El Salvador. They're not members of this gang. They're good, hardworking people who came here legally, and it was all big misunderstanding. And I have no reason to believe those people at face value, but it could be true. And all the more reason to afford people due process. I think some people are missing it. People are like, well, if they came here illegally, who gives a shit? Anybody who's here illegally should be deported to their country of origin, period, end of story. All the Trump administration have to prove is you're not here legally. You don't have your papers that shows that you've overstayed your visa. Here's proof. You don't have, social security card or whatever. You're not here legally. We're sending you back to your country of origin. If they refuse to say the country of origin, then send them to El Salvador. If the country of origin refuses to take them back, then send them to El Salvador. But they should first be given the option to go back to the country of origin. That's the way it should be. You shouldn't just say you're a criminal gangster and then send you to El Salvador where you'll be in prison. For that special classification, I do feel that there is some due process that should be afforded. What if someone did come legitimately through a port of entry, as is being claimed? Again, I'm not saying I believe it because the people have an incentive to make up a bullshit story, but they might be telling the truth. But what if that happened? Someone came legally through a port of entry, and instead of saying, no, you can't be here, go home, we're saying you go to prison in El Salvador. That seems to be a bit much. Now, I know there are problems with this. The idea is you can only detain like beds for 50,000 people or something like that. After that, what do you do with these people? It's clear that there is an agenda by the people in the previous administration and many people in our institutions to overwhelm the United States with illegals. They want this. And so it makes it all the more difficult. I get that. That I understand. But there are other things you could do. Detain as many as you can that you think are in that gang. Send the rest to Martha's Vineyard, to Democrat strongholds, over and over and over again. It was cool when the Biden administration was putting them on planes and sending them in the middle of the night. So just inundate Democrat strongholds. Yeah, they're all good people, right? They're all soccer coaches. That's what I would do. The Trump administration needs to get more clever. Oh, we're not allowed to cut USAID funding? No, I think you misunderstand what I'm saying, Brimstone. There is being here illegally. There is using the Alien Enemy Act saying you are an illegal terrorist. Those are two different things. The punishment should be different. And then there are people that maybe try to come through the port of entry claiming asylum that technically wouldn't be illegal. All of those people should be removed immediately as well. It's not punishment. It's just saying, nope, we're not accepting you. Go to Mexico. You came through Mexico to get here. If you're really claiming asylum, claim it in Mexico. Goodbye. That's what should occur. We're not bound. I don't give a shit that we're bound by some international law that we have to accept people that are claiming asylum that came through 4 different countries to get here. Fuck all that. Nonetheless, point being, I still don't hear anyone else. If the courts say you can't cut off USAID money, fine, okie dokie. Then instead you give it to conservative groups. Those are the sorts of contingencies that should be going on. I digress. I've talked about sort of that stuff. Now we have this signals conversation. So the title of the video is Trump's administration playing 4D chess? Let me explain to you what happened. Signal is it encrypted? I think it's supposed to be encrypted. I have a few friends that will only text me via Signal now. Apparently it's more difficult. I think the idea that it's impossible to ever get access to that communication is probably untrue, but I think it's more difficult. One of the friends, one is just an acquaintance from the show. We haven't talked about anything shady. The other is a person who has a serious job, a high-level job. Neither of those text conversations in either of them is there anything remotely salacious. Most of it's baseball talk. That's about it. But anyways, I understand people wanting privacy and do things that are more apt to be private. It's no problem. So I've used Signal, but I don't know how secure it is. I've never treated it as, oh, I have Signal, so I could say whatever I want and no one will ever be able to see it. I mean, shit. Even if the person you're talking to decides to release something, it's encrypted. Everyone in the military uses it. Okay. So anyways, Signal, it's this encrypted app where you could text, very similar to like texting on your phone. If there's any old heads like me out there watching that don't know much about this. So it'll look very similar to just, if you hit the text bubble on your phone and start texting people, it looks very similar to that. You add people to your contacts. You can have group chats, things like that. It is not one of the official ways of communication through classified information. So there are official programs, channels, computers, servers, etc. that if you were someone with a security clearance working for the government that you have to use in order to be compliant. And the reason for that is we don't want people getting access to information. Just because this private company says this is encrypted, there could be a way for hostile foreign influences, etc., to get access to information on there that would be classified. And so that's why the government has their own sorts of things. Anyways, now that you know what Signal is, there is a conversation going on through Signal with Pete Hegseth, this guy Walls, J.D. Vance, a few other people. And it's talking about, now we're releasing this, but this was from a couple weeks ago, when the United States bombed these Houthi ships outside of Yemen. And there's sort of conversation going on about it. And Jonah Goldberg from the, is it Jonah? I think. Goldberg, though, from The Atlantic. Someone added him to the chat. In other words, this journalist is on this chat, and this journalist is saying, look, this is the way the conversation was happening, and then there's other stuff that I can't tell you because it may be classified, and so I can't even tell you. And so there are allegations of this was classified material that was being shared in inappropriate ways. Isn't that similar to what Hillary Clinton did and Republicans made a big deal about? How did Goldberg get put on here from the Atlantic? Those are the questions. And a theory has been suggested. Was this 4D chess on behalf of the Trump administration? Let someone, this benign conversation, one, it allows Europe to see that sort of JD Vance and others are saying, like, Europe's not doing their fair share, right? So this is a good way. Oh, look at this. This got leaked. We would never say this publicly that Europe sucked, but see? And then maybe it outed someone. Yeah, this is intentional to out. What do you all think? Do you think it was 4D chess? You think the Trump administration purposely put that story out there? Because they saw benefit in the leak. They could find the leaker. They could show Europe what they really think. Yes or no? 4D chess? Yeah, I cracked my fingers. The answer is no. It's not 4D chess. I mean, it theoretically could be. The chance of it being 4D chess is it's always a chance, but I would put it slightly below that actually everyone in the Trump administration are aliens from the future, and this is them sending messages from the future. Yeah, it's not 4D chess. This is amateur hour buffoonish bullshit is what it is. That's what it is. The most likely scenario by far is that someone in the Trump administration is still talking to neocon Goldberg, who helped lie us into the Iraq war, who lied about the suckers and losers hoax of Trump. Anti-Trump neoconner, how many times will it take for people in the Trump administration to learn, stop talking to these fucking people? How many times will it take? But Rob, Trump would never do that. It wasn't him, it was just these other people. How many times has Trump sat down for interviews with Maggie Haberman? And then just this weekend, he's putting on Truth Social, Maggot Haberman of the New York Times, blah, blah, blah. He'll sit there and criticize her, and then next week he'll sit down with an interview for her. It is the entire Trump administration. It was 4 years. 4 years of this in his first term. The lying media, they're enemies of the people, but we're going to sit down with them and give them an exclusive. And here we are again. So that's easily the most likely scenario. That someone on Trump's team still talking every day. I want to be liked by the New York Times. I want to be liked by the Atlantic. I call them every night and tell them the things we talk about. And then I'm shocked when they leak stuff and they talk about it. And, oh my gosh. Oh, they're making us look bad. Oh, well, I'll talk to them again tomorrow. That's the most likely scenario, which is terrible. The other scenario is that someone within Trump's team is intentionally sabotaging him. So they intentionally slipped this writer from The Atlantic into the chain. So what? You're still not going to blame Trump and his people for that? If that's the case, the person should be immediately fired, right? It's amateur hour. It's bullshit. Now, could there be more to this? Yeah. For example, this writer claiming, I think, other stuff that I'm not putting here for national security reasons, could be classified. Yeah, I suppose it could be, but it could not be as well. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to just take this dude's word for it. Nonetheless, even if this stuff technically isn't classified, so stupid to be talking about potentially getting involved in a military conflict, and you're so lackadaisical about it that members of the press, who you know are going to shit on you at any given chance, are on the fucking encrypted app with you. Every single Democrat taking a victory lap right now has every right to. This is fucking amateur bullshit. Absolute amateur hour. One, potentially a crime for sending classified information in servers that you shouldn't want. A crime that most Republicans said was very severe when Hillary Clinton's team did it. In fact, I'm one of the few that I know that said I didn't think Hillary should go to jail for that or should be criminally prosecuted for that. Why? Because everybody does it in Washington. They all do it. Most of them aren't dumb enough to have a hostile member of the press in there while they're talking on channels that aren't the official channels that they're supposed to be. Most of the press is on their side and would cover up for them if that was occurring. Or they would at least be smart enough to, there's Tucker Carlson's in this group chat with us. Methinks we'll stop. But not the Trump administration. When the Atlantic that hates Trump has one of their head reporters in it. Good stuff. But that's what I said. I didn't think Hillary's team should be prosecuted. I did think they should be prosecuted for the intentional deletion of subpoenaed evidence. That, to me, warranted a criminal charge. But the actual mishandling of classified information, it's the same I said with Biden, with Trump. Everybody does it. Everyone. It was Signal, not Snapchat. So the Democrats take a victory lap. Maybe it was 4D chess and Trump didn't like the press he was getting with the Trans-Daragawa gang and questions about due process. We don't know who added Goldberg. There's suggestion it may have been Waltz, who's I forget what his official title is. Whoever added Goldberg should be terminated immediately. I don't give a Hegseth, unless it's Vance, because he's vice president. It would be harder to terminate him. Anyone from a position that was appointed, I don't give a shit who it is, right up to Hegseth, should be terminated. This is incompetence of such a high level. That's exactly the point. Bucking. Why is anyone in Trump's orbit? Why are they even talking to someone from the Atlantic, let alone they have their Signal contact information? Whoopsie daisy, accidentally slipped it in here in this conversation. It'll probably be some low-level person will be scapegoated. And who knows if that'll be true. I'd be shocked if Trump forces accountability. Yeah, it was a big fuck-up. Someone's going to be held accountable of note. It'll be, no, we intended to, and it wasn't a big deal. Bullshit. Well, I agree. Let's see if someone... Can you get a quick rundown of what happened? Yeah, go back and watch the video. There was talk about bombing Houthi ships in Yemen through Signal, which is an encrypted chat app that the government isn't supposed to be using, and a lead writer for The Atlantic who hates Trump was added to the Signal chat and saw that there was a potential crime being committed by Trump's team, which was, one, they were talking about these things that could potentially be classified on platforms that they're legally not supposed to be talking on, and second, they added an anti-Trump journalist to the chat, which the other people didn't know, that was then able to report on this, claiming that some of the information was classified. There, that's the rundown. That's the last time I'll give it, though. So... I'm not going to defend this buffoonery. Now, does it raise to the level? Yeah, I'm sure there are a lot of people in the military, I've heard other people say that use Signal for everything. I agree. Everybody uses Signal for everything. All the Democrats are doing it. The Biden administration did it. Or if not Signal, they use something else. Everybody's using shit that's not the official government sanctioned. This is what you have to use. I agree. Everybody's taking home classified information in one way or another. I agree. The difference is how many people are adding journalists that are absolutely hostile to them that can then report it to the American people that at best makes the Trump administration look like total fucking amateur morons, and at worst shows that they're committing crimes. That's what's going on. As for the chat itself, at least J.D. Vance is pushing back on the idea of just straight up going to war with Iran. But so many of the people... Doesn't matter if the chats looked terrible. They might as well have just had Xi Jinping in the chat with them. That's who The Atlantic is. The Atlantic is a group of journalists who want to bury the Trump administration. How embarrassing. Vance at least looked like he was hesitant to jump right in with the war with Iran. I would say that people in the ear of Trump will win out on that we're going to be as aggressive to Iran as possible because our ally Israel wants it. And Israel get what they want, as usual. Now, how big of a deal is this? To me, the biggest deal is the stupidity to add, not just to add, whether it was malicious or accidental, to add Goldberg from The Atlantic, but then for everyone else not to notice. Hey, Pete Hegseth. Hey, J.D. Vance. Here's an idea for you. 2 or 3 people. That's who you should be talking to in a group chat. That's it. No staffers, nothing. Have your staffers talk to staffers from the other people. Right, when you add someone to the group, it shows everyone in the group. There was nothing really in the plans that was something we didn't know because the attack had already taken place. But presumably, if someone would have been added before the attacks took place, then yes. Let's say they accidentally added a Houthi pirate. Yeah, I guess those pirates could have been like, oh shit, they're going to attack sometime soon. But we're finding out about it after the attack. But it shows the carelessness and the incompetence that someone that's hostile to the administration was added. Now, having said all of this, and I'm excoriating the Trump team, even if it's not illegal, it may technically be illegal because they're using channels that aren't the government-sanctioned channels, but everybody does that. It certainly is reeks of incompetence, and someone should be fired and held accountable. As for my Democrat friends, who have every right to take a victory lap on this, the chutzpah of them, particularly a one Hillary Clinton, to be like, what? Is laughable. One, at best, they did what we know Hillary did for years. But Rob, oh my God, this is so much worse. They actually had a journalist on that. That's so much worse. Need I forget you that Hillary was sending emails from her private server that went to a guy in the name of Anthony Weiner on his laptop that he was using to send dick pics to every woman in the country? I don't remember the Democrat outrage. Yeah, that, the goddess, yeah. I agree. It would have to be classified information, which there's no proof that any of it was classified documents, etc. yet. I agree. But to the level that it may have been. But Rob, Tulsi Gabbard said that anybody that's disclosing classified information should go to jail and be punished. She's talking about intentional leaks, not people that are talking with what they think is within the administration. But Rob, I get the joke. It's funny. Please stop with the all caps thing. Thanks. Let's assume that another judge orders an injunction and decides we want subpoenas, all of the records from this Signal conversation, whatever. What should happen? What should the Trump administration do if that happens? If a subpoena is ordered from a judge, okay, you got to send us all the information from this Signals chat. Not just this one conversation, this one day, but the entire chat. What should the Trump administration do? Like it says, that really can't happen that way, Rob. It would need to be a military investigation to have access to the information. Really? Tell that to the court that's putting the injunction on the Alien Enemy Act. A court would be able to do it. But yeah, that person nails it. Okay, nails it. They should delete it. Any body that subpoenas records like this from the Trump administration, just delete them. Right? That's the standard that's been set. Am I wrong? That's not me saying that. I would think that would be bad, to intentionally destroy subpoenaed evidence. But that's the standard that's been set, right? Oh, okay. As long as you plan to delete it for other reasons. It doesn't matter if you knew there was a subpoena, right? That's what happened with Hillary's team, right? That's what they should do. Legatus, you're completely... Legatus is like, well, technically, if they delete them, then the Atlantic would be the only people to control that evidence, and they'd be able to shape it as they see fit, so I don't know if deleting... I think you're missing what I'm saying. There's no need to comply with any subpoena because you could just delete subpoenaed evidence. If we're going to compare this to the Hillary Clinton scenario, right? That's the standard that's been set. It's okay. Sit down with someone, give everyone immunity. Okay, Mr. Hegseth, you have complete immunity. We know you're the one who deleted everything on this Signals chat. You deleted it all. Why? Yeah, no one told me to. It was just me. I had an oh shit moment. We verbally discussed at the onset that actually we would delete these things every night. So, there you go. I had an oh shit moment once the subpoena came and I forgot, oh shit, I'm supposed to delete this every night. And Democrats would say, yeah, absolutely. Completely reasonable. Yeah. Thank God everyone got immunity. Right? That's the standard, right? As Democrats are yelling, oh my gosh, this is worse than what Hillary did. They don't give a shit. Hey, maybe you all should have taken when Hillary did it more seriously. No, it was all a big joke. Of course, you know, as I know, how many times I've debated this. Since then, many of them will say, yeah, maybe her team should have been prosecuted, maybe. But not when it mattered. Not when she was running for president. Couldn't have been then. But oh boy, now if I have the debate with someone, that's what they'll say. Oh, you thought Hillary's team should have been prosecuted? Right, I've said publicly they should have been. Not for the mishandling of classified information or the private server. I said, although that probably technically is a crime, everybody does it. And not in favor of prosecuting those I disagree with. I'm in favor of an equal application of the law. And if you're going to let every administration get away with it, then I'm not a fan of saying, well, let's start with Hillary. But the deleting of subpoenaed evidence, that's beyond the pale. That's as clear-cut of a case of obstruction of justice as you'll ever get. And they were left off the hook. Also, the other problem with the Hillary investigation was that there was testimony that Loretta Lynch basically told the FBI, yeah, don't prosecute her. That's fucked up. Thanks. I like this shirt too. So I don't give a shit. Any Hillary supporter Democrat out there that's like, oh, this is worse than what Hillary did. You guys set the standard. Your standard was, we didn't give a fuck when Hillary did it. We didn't even give a fuck when she deleted subpoenaed evidence. We did not give a shit. Didn't care. The standard was set right then. You can mishandle classified information, put it on places it's not supposed to be, and if it gets subpoenaed, you can delete it, and that's okay. But we never said it was okay. We just said through a weird series of circumstance, the same FBI agents that were leading it that said they needed an insurance policy to go against Trump and hashtag resist, and Hillary should be winning 1,000,000 votes to 1. Through a weird set of unique coincidences, they had to give immunity to all of Hillary's team while at the same time aggressively prosecuting Trump's team as hard as possible. And so, unfortunately, they gave immunity to the one person who was the only one that was involved with the deletion. But the deletion was very serious. It was very serious. Trust us. If Trump's team does it, send them all to prison. That's how serious. If a Democrat does it in the future, then again, there'll probably be a strange set of circumstances that will have to give everyone immunity and unfortunately not charge them, or it won't affect me voting for them or anything like that. But when Trump's team does it, absolutely send them to prison. How could you vote for that? So yeah, fuck those people. I don't care what they say. But I don't do my channel for those people. I do my channel for you people. And for you people, I'm saying, this was fucking ridiculous and idiotic. Again, is there potentially more to the story? Yeah. Maybe we'll find out that Goldberg from The Atlantic somehow hacked his way into this server in a way that no one could see that he was on there. Okay? I would say the chances of that are slim to none. But I guess we will learn more, and I'm open to hearing more of what's going on. Is it the end of the world? No. Wasn't like they were discussing nuclear secrets. We're not even sure that they discussed anything classified. Far more important things going on. But it's fucking ridiculous. Democrats have the right to jump on this and say, look how fucking absurd this is. They have absolutely every right to do that. As they should, as Republicans would be doing if this story broke, if it was the Biden administration. They absolutely... Can you imagine if the Biden administration would have accidentally put Tucker Carlson into a signal conversation discussing going to war with Iran? Can you imagine how we would make fun of them? And we would. We absolutely would. But make no mistake about it, these Democrats don't give a shit. They showed that with the Hillary Clinton debacle. They don't give a shit. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't. And the big thing is, it is once more, just like Trump sitting down with Maggie Haberman all the time. The Trump team will never learn. This is maybe the biggest black pill yet, that the swamp will not be drained under Trump. Such promise in the first 40, 50 days. The people Trump was appointing were mostly good. Tulsi's good. RFK's good. Pete Hegseth looks good. We'll see. Kash Patel looks really good. Pam Bondi, I'm questionable on. But there was optimism. They were at least saying the right things. They were appointing people that look good. And now every day is more and more of a black pill that brings me back to where I originally thought. Less than a 5% chance that Trump actually does anything meaningful to drain the swamp. Hey, Trump, if you or anyone on your team are listening, you understand that if you don't show the American people how corrupt these people were that used lawfare against you and criminally prosecute those that have criminal charges warranted against them and proof warranted against. If you don't do that, you will go to prison for the rest of your life. And so will your family. Just so you know. So you could fucking wax on about Canada being the 51st state and all that shit. You go ahead. It's fun for the memes, baby. But I'm just telling you. Make sure you have your priorities straight. And it ain't gonna happen. We'll get 4 months from now a heavily redacted Epstein law with ain't shit on it. We'll end up getting close as we make correct decisions in Ukraine, because we should stop trying to fund all of these countries and all this interventionism. We'll continue to intervene with Israel on Israel's behest more and more and more. We'll get to the bottom of fucking all these people, all these universities that have discriminated, particularly against Asian students, white students, have anti-white curriculum, etc. We'll get to the bottom of that. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. That'll all be good. You can't criticize Israel, though. That'll be prevented. So, yay! Finally, the important issues, right? They're really affecting the heartland of America. Here I am in rural Pennsylvania. Yay! We'll get to that. Excellent work. Vita, thanks for the membership. I appreciate it. Really do, man. It's always good to see you. That's where I'm at. I'm at where I was when Trump announced his candidacy, which I said, why would things be different this time than the first time? Did he drain the swamp the first time? No, he appointed a bunch of people like John Bolton around him that didn't do shit. Bill Barr. J.D. Vance looks good. If Trump doesn't immediately get to the bottom of who added Goldberg and fucking publicly fire them, then that lets you know things aren't changed. Oh, Mr. Trump, trust us. The reason that we had to contact Goldberg and be in good communication with him is because it's important. It's important for traditional conservatives. They listen to the Atlantic, so it's important that we maintain contact with them. Now, will you sit down with Stephanopoulos on Meet the Press this weekend, and let's do another debate with CNN as the moderator. Let's sit down and do that again, and Maggie Haberman would like to talk to you this weekend. Can we do all that? Don't forget, you got another bill about how you can't criticize Israel coming up. Goldberg saying Walls did it. I heard that as well. And while we're shitting on the right, let's take more of a dump, shall we? Does anyone, listen, as much as I would like to be the next fucking Rush Limbaugh, I don't have 1/100th of his talent. His knowledge, his charisma, his speaking ability. I'm a poor replacement for Rush Limbaugh, who is amazing. A man who not only was incredibly informative, but entertaining every day for decades by himself, 4 hours a day in front of a microphone, no bells and whistles. Incredible. But I'm not going to shit you. Would I like to have more influence? Yeah. Would I like to make millions of dollars being a conservative voice or a populist voice? I do have a similar physique, that's true. And I am now on medication for my back, just saying. I don't have a golden microphone, so there you go. Is Trump doing better than his previous administration? He seemingly set the priorities that look better and the people that look better. Let's see results. What results have we seen? The tariff strategy may pay off. Maybe we'll see an end to the conflict in Ukraine. That'd be great. But if we end up in war with Iran, is that any better? We're getting new anti-hate speech laws against anti-Semitism, okay? The promises sound good. Let's see the execution. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, the promises sound better than what was done in the first 4 years. I also am not a fan of any hate speech laws. Well, the border, but he did pretty good in the border the first time. Remember? But admittedly, it was way more of a crisis this time when he came in, and we've stopped that influx. But I mean, how many has he deported so far? Does anyone have the numbers? Like 10, 20,000? Is that going to make people happy if he does that? 48 times? The lower than Biden's number is a misnomer, though, because Biden's counting turnaways at the border and things like that. Because almost no one's trying to get in through the border now, those numbers are going to look lower because of that. Also, Biden's numbers were artificially inflated, how many people that they were deporting as well. Anyways, back to the Rush Limbaugh thing. I would like to be a millionaire and quit my job and just stream 4 hours a day. I think it'd be beautiful, it'd be wonderful. I would absolutely love it. That'd be great. Probably not going to happen, but I would love it. It would be great. I think I'm pretty good. I think I'm entertaining. I think I'm informative. I think I'm a good debater. I'm no Rush, though. But does anyone else think that so many of the big conservative influencers absolutely fucking suck? Not all of them. I think Charlie Kirk's really good. Not so much the streamers, though I have quibbles with some of them. But like the big X accounts like Ian Miles Cheong, that guy fucking sucks. That guy sucks. All he does is agree with Elon and rip off every smaller streamer's fucking content. And there's so many people just like him. So many. Or it'll be people like, I'm sorry, like Cat Turd that's like, ha, cool Trump meme. Ha, Democrats suck. Ha. Like, I don't mind that. And yet you're not, man. Fine, make money. I don't care. But I think that there was originally an organic growth to people like that, and now they're promoted on places like X. And a lot of what they do is take smaller contents. I saw one the other day who seemingly like Rothmus puts a little comic up, and it's this drawing of it looks like a toddler in Africa, and he's reaching. There's a white woman offering him a bottle of water, and she's like, "First, let me talk to you about your pronouns." And as soon as I saw that comic, I'm like, "That's my friend Jim Bob. That's Jim Bob's comic." No attribution to Jim Bob. Just take his shit. Jim Bob will put that up and get 30 likes. This dude put it up and get 10,000. Then get a nice fat paycheck from X. Not the person that actually created it. Who actually... And it's a hilarious comic, by the way. It's very good. Yeah, I would say Jim Bob would consider me friend. I like Jim Bob a lot. Then we have this SNAP conversation that occurs this weekend, right? Should food stamps be used to purchase soda? No, they shouldn't be allowed. I don't give a shit. But Rob, aren't you sort of libertarian adjacent? Do you want the government getting involved in our lives? No, then take away the food stamps. There, that's getting the government out of our lives. But to the extent that you're basically going to steal from people in the form of taxation and force them to have a social safety net because you're making the moral claim, as a society, we can't leave people starve. Okay, I'm open to hearing that. I think the program is incredibly abused and way more people are on it than is necessary, but nonetheless, fine, great. If we're going to say as a society, we've come together and we have realized that we're going to have certain social safety nets. I can live with that. I can. But what is the moral reasoning for why you're taking everybody's money? That moral reasoning is we can't leave people become unhealthy because they can't afford a diet that would be beneficial to them. Okay. What part of needing soda falls into that? What part of healthy diet? SNAP, the Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program. What part of soda fits into that? Just curious. Full disclosure, Me and my family have been on food stamps in my life. And I'll guarantee we bought chips and soda and shit like that. And I'm not begrudging the people that are doing it. I'm begrudging that if we're going to fix this and say, yeah, you can't get soda, that's what we should do as a country. But Rob, you piece of shit, don't poor people deserve small pleasures in life? Yes! Absolutely! That doesn't mean I should have to pay for it. Everybody that lives in Western Pennsylvania should once in their life go to PNC Park. Absolutely one of the most gorgeous baseball parks you'll ever be to. The Pirates suck, but the park is gorgeous. Here's my recommendation to you. For very cheap, maybe like 15 bucks, you could get seats up in, let me see, it would be left field. At the very top of left field. Me and my wife would do this all the time. Maybe 15 bucks you can get seats up there. And go on a Friday night. I think it's a Friday night. And this company Zambelli does fireworks there. And they'll get out on the river there right in Pittsburgh. You're right sitting adjacent to the river. And they'll get a big barge that they shoot the fireworks up. And it looks like they're exploding right in front of your face. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. You shouldn't have to pay for me to do that, though. But everybody should do it. It's great. I just don't think that I should take your tax dollars to send people on that little trip. That's what I think. In my opinion. But Rob, most of them have jobs. They're working poor. Great, then the $5 that you were going to spend on 2 liters of soda, reach into your paycheck and take that $5 and buy the soda. Problem solved. And if you don't have $5 or $10 or whatever a case of soda costs, then maybe you have bigger problems than food stamps to buy soda. If you can't cut $5 out of your dietary budget and need to use your, $200 of food stamps, 5, 10, 20 of those dollars need to be spent on soda because you literally don't have 5, 10, 20 of your own dollars to spend on soda, then you have bigger problems. But Rob, won't people just buy steaks and lobsters and other stuff and then sell them and use the cash? Yeah, I suppose that's fraud. But yes, I suppose people will do things like that. That doesn't mean that we should make it easier for them to buy sugary bullshit like soda. But Rob, you're a fat fuck that no doubt drank soda in your life. Yes, you're right. Poor people absolutely should have every right, just like wealthy people, to drink or eat any bullshit that they want. Yep. You should absolutely have that right. That doesn't mean that everyone else should pay for it. Now, we already have programs like this in other ways, like WIC. WIC is a program for infants, toddlers, to make sure that they're getting proper nutritional stuff. With WIC, what you get is basically vouchers for milk, bread, eggs, cheese. Where are all the conservatives out there saying, or for that matter, lefties, that are saying, well, you have to let them have soda or it's the government interfering? Then I suppose it's already too much government interference on WIC. What about those poor toddlers that want soda? They're not entitled to it? Well, that's government interference. The WIC program's brutal. And for that matter, why stop it there? If you're on food stamps, aren't you entitled to little pleasures like soda? Then aren't you entitled to cigarettes too? Why not allow food stamp for cigarettes? How about booze? Weed's legal now in many states. How about your food stamps for weed, right? But that's the straw man because there's no nutritional substance in weed. I'm sorry, what's the nutritional substance in soda? And then we have regulations on food stamps like you can't use it for hot meals. So for example, if you go to Walmart, one of the things that's really cheap that me and my family get all the time at our local Walmart, which is basically the only grocery store around, there's an Aldi's too, but that's about it. They have like whole rotisserie chickens for like $5. They don't feed me, my wife, and my son easily, But we'll do things like just peel the meat off the bone and get a little like taco seasoning, and then you have fajitas. Chicken's already made. It's simple. But you can't get that with food stamps, which is far healthier than the potato chips and bullshit you could get. Anyways, that's my spiel. I feel that although I'm hesitant to have the government have control of our lives, they already have control in programs like WIC, and they already control certain things with food stamps, like you can't buy hot food. No, you cannot buy any cooked food with EBT. None. So we already have those limits, so who's to say we can't limit it a little further? At this point, we're just talking about thresholds. I think the threshold of allowing them to eliminate soda would be better. We haven't even talked about many of the people that are on food stamps are also on Medicaid, so you get to pay for them for their poor dietary decisions. Again, I'm not judging them. I myself make poor dietary decisions. But the difference is I'm buying that with my own money. So you pay for the poor dietary decisions, then you get to pay for Medicaid for the poor decisions that they made that puts them into the doctor's office. You can buy pizza from Little Caesars. I did not know that. Maybe it varies state to state as well. I don't know. I know many of the companies like the one I work at, where we're working with adults with disabilities, many of those adults get food stamps. So I'm familiar with using a food stamp card in that way. That's basically the only knowledge I have of me personally shopping and using a food stamp card. And with that, we just get necessities. But in fairness, many of the people also have health conditions like diabetes, so you wouldn't be tempted to buy soda anyways. That's the argument, though. Now, where does this come into me bitching about conservative influencers? Okay, well, you saw these conservative influencers like Ian Miles Cheong that were like, this is absurd, blah, blah, blah. And there's a bunch of them that were popping up. Eric Doherty was one of them. And they're like, almost like very similar posts from one another. Well, people did some background checking, and it turns out many of these conservative influencers are being paid. Hey, Emily A., what's happening? Thanks for being a member again. Hi, Rob. She says, hello, Emily. Many of them are getting paid. Now, they're not directly getting paid by Coca-Cola. Some of them are getting paid through sort of intermediate agencies that would post to them like, hey, we'll pay you $100 or $1,000 for a post that's X number of long, and then we'll give you $10 per 1,000 views or something like that. Some of what happens is there's not a direct paycheck, but they'll get an email through a sort of advertising company they've worked for that was like, hey, here's our position on this. And there's an implicit agreement that if I want them to reach out to me on different things, then these are the types of things I have to say so that they'll keep giving me their advertising dollars. Nonetheless, the problem is many people are getting paid and they're not announcing it. Now, let's do it this way. I have not taken any money from any advertising agent like that. Let's clear the air totally on money I've received. To the best of my knowledge, I suppose I could be forgetting something, but to the best of my knowledge, here's money I've received. Super chats on YouTube, subscriptions on YouTube. Super chats are the equivalent in subscriptions on Twitch. A handful of dollars, maybe $100 in the entire time I've been there, maybe more than that, I don't know, on Rumble. I used to have a Patreon that money would come through. All of that falls into the category of just fans sending money. I don't know if they're Russian, if they're Israeli, if they're government employees, if they work at Coca-Cola, if they're with the Make America Healthy Again movement. I don't know. I've taken that money. Never once in any of that has there been any strings attached to, here's the message we want you to say. It's just like, hey, we like your show, here's money. Okay, that's pool one of money I've received. The first pool of money, right? Pool two and I'm only saying this to be safe, I have received ads, and I've worked with 2 of them. Years ago, both of them. One was a CBD company, and the other was, oh shit, something with computers or something, like I think custom PC shop. Both of them, the arrangement was, we'll give you a URL, and then you say, hey, CBD product, I've tried it, seems good. If you were interested in purchasing CBD stuff, go to this website and type in my name. And the agreement was, I got a percentage of what was ever sold. I, to my knowledge, have received $0, and no one has ever purchased any product in my name like that. So for that, I've received $0. In both of those, though, even though I never received money, I did acknowledge, hey, this company I'm working with. But just to clarify, lest I be accused, someone digs up a video from me 3 years ago. In fact, at least with the CBD ladies, I remember I actually had them on live for an interview to talk about their product. They seem like nice ladies. Is there any other way that I've received money? I have had people send me, did you see that badass shirt I wear sometimes that says, "This is Democracy Manifest"? That was a fan sent me that. I've had fans send me hats, books, coin, like Trump coin. I've had fans send me an American flag. That's it. So I've never taken money for a political position. I didn't take money from Tenet Media or anything like that. Though I suppose they did put me up in a hotel. Tim Pool put me up in a hotel for 2 nights? So I guess if your argument is Tim Pool got paid for Russia, then technically a matriculated amount of Russia money maybe went into the hotel that I got to go on Tim Pool's show. But so did every lefty that was ever on Tim Pool's show then, using that logic. I haven't even taken soda from Big Soda. If they sent me a 6-pack of diet soda, I'd be happy. That's it. Now, we went through this with Tenet, but we went through it more with Progressive Victory Pack. Now, I didn't see Andrew on Pierce Day. I hope he did well. I do, Travis. I thoroughly enjoy that shirt. It's one of my favorite shirts to wear. Actually, I don't wear it much on stream because I'm wearing it around so much. So I'm always putting it in the wash before I come up to stream. But I wear that shirt everywhere, and it gets you'd be surprised how many people are like, what the hell is that shirt? And then I get to explain them the story. It's very fun. I said this with Progressive Victory. The problem with Connor taking money from Progressive Victory Pack was that it seemed to be antithetical to what he claimed to stand for as a conservative. You could be a conservative and say, I hate Donald Trump. It's perfectly reasonable. You could be a conservative and say, I'm voting for Kamala. Okay, fine. But to claim that you're a conservative and then to get paid and help an organization whose stated goal is to create progressive activists to win elections, including down ballot, and to make the Democrat Party more progressive, which is the antithesis of conservatism, seems outlandish. But if you were a progressive, hey, Pierce Weber, thanks for the $5, says, are you dreading the income Aaron Rodgers signing like I am? I'd rather just go with Rudolph for cheap and get a high pick. We'll suck either way. I completely agree with you, Pierce Weber. Not to talk too much about football. People hate when I talk about it. But yes, Aaron Rodgers is just another lost season as far as I'm concerned. It'll be big money that could have been better spent elsewhere. We're going to spend big money on him to have another mediocre season and then be right back in the same position next year. So I say go with Mason Rudolph, draft a quarterback if you can, maybe Dart or Shadir Sanders. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of either of them if I'm honest, but try something to get someone young, or don't even draft a QB. Just get Mason Rudolph and then get another backup and then just start building an offensive line, skill positions, and then go for a quarterback next year. Anyways, I don't have a problem, though, if you were a progressive, like someone like Wick, and then you take money from Progressive Victory PAC. I don't have a problem with that. The only problem is if you're not disclosing that you're taking money. But the only two problems I have are, one, if you're changing what you would believe for the money. So if I'm a Trump supporter and all of a sudden the Progressive Victory PAC people come to me and they're like, Rob, we'll pay you $20,000 a month to bash Trump now. And then all of a sudden you see me on here and I'm like, yeah, Trump's the fucking worst. Next time I'm voting Democrat. And then you find out, wait a minute, this dude's getting paid now by Progressive Victory to say that. That's fucking shady and unethical. And it's also not as shady, but still not good to not disclose that you're being paid for something like that. I'm not saying that you have to disclose it every 5 seconds or even every show, but it's something that you should make public knowledge. Hey, a political organization's paying me money. Hey, an advertising agency's paying me money to share these sorts of political views. And we would say that about anything. Great value drinking water. When I'm parched, there's nothing like the refreshing, cold flavor of Great Value drinking. Thanks, Great Value. Now, if I do that, and I'm getting paid by Great Value, and I don't tell you that, that's unethical. But if I say, hey, this show today, I want to say thanks to our sponsor, Great Value Drinking Water. I drink it all the time. I'm always flat in my gums here. My mouth gets dry because there's probably spittle coming out and shit like that. You know what helps me out with the old dry mouth? Great Value Drinking. So thanks to them again for sponsoring. Pick up a case at your local Walmart or Sam's Club. See, it's different. Oh, it's a sponsorship. Everybody understands that. So to see so many of these big influencers that are apparently receiving money indirectly through advertising agencies that are telling them to have this position on soda is horseshit. Oh, and it just so happens it's a bunch of talentless fucking hacks like Ian Miles Cheong that are just yes men for people like Elon Musk and basically cribbing smaller content creators' material. Fuck them. Now, to his defense, Eric Doherty, who I see his post, admitted it. He was like, yeah, my bad. I should have admitted. I believe his position is, this is my honest opinion. We should be able to get soda with Snap. But yes, I did get paid, and I should have disclosed that, and I'm sorry. I could live with that. An apology, and he's like, it won't happen again. Next time I'm paid for something like that, I'll be sure to acknowledge it. We'll see, but okay, you made a mistake. Fine. But it just feels like everything is astroturfed. Yeah, his honest opinion is garbage, I agree. But opinions are opinions. I live with that. I'd live with shitty opinions. Everything feels astroturfed anymore. It's just, I don't know. And again, it sounds like sour grapes, but it's not. From the bottom of my heart, I'll tell you this. Again, I'll go back. I would love to get paid like Rush Limbaugh. I would. I'd love to be rich. It would be a weird feeling. As soon as I make like $5 million, fuck everyone. I'm buying an RV and hanging out with my family every day. And you'll forget all about me. I'll stream like once a month or some shit, and I won't have any audience. And then someday I'll die. And you'll be like, I remember that guy. He really fell off. But by fall off, what that really means is he had a fucking excellent life with his wife and his son. That's what falling off would mean to me. It doesn't have to be me. It doesn't. From the bottom of my heart, I do this as a hobby. I was kind of shocked when it's the same when I ran for Congress. I always assume, like, I'm arrogant, but I also have low self-esteem at the same time, and like this weird bipolar mix. So like when it comes to debate, I know I'm good. I know that on average, I'm better than most people at debate. And that even if someone knows more about a specific subject than me, I still have a good chance of being able to argue with them about it and sounding at least competent. Because I'm pretty good at that. That's the talent I have. But I also know I'm fucking terrible in a bunch of other things that make you a big streamer. I don't have it. I don't have this ruthless, cutthroat, like uber capitalist mentality where it's like monetize everything, study the algorithm, manipulate the algorithm, build networks, blah, blah, blah. I just don't have that. Corey Barton, thanks for the $2. Says Super Chat brought you a Pfizer. Thank you. Is there a second Super Chat underneath that one? I can't tell. It almost looks like it. If someone else said a Super Chat, I apologize. I can't see it. Anyways. But it doesn't have to be me. It could be other people. When I ran for Congress, I walked in the room and I was like, oh, it's going to be intimidating. Well, the first thing I've told people, there were 26 people because it was a special election. So on the very first thing you did was a phone call. And they put you on this call and they'd be like, all right, you're going to be like number 18. And there's going to be 2 questions that you get asked. Okay? And I was nervous. I was like, you could hear everyone else's answer. And I thought it would be like personalized questions. It was just like, why are you running? And then like, what's the most important thing to you? And you had a minute to answer each. And everybody gets the same 2 questions. And I was intimidated. I'm like, because I knew there was a lot of people running. This was federal Congress, but there was a lot of people running that were already state senators, state representatives, lawyers, And I remember being like, oh, I'm going to be massively outclassed. I was just doing it because it was something that everyone always told me to do. And I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. And my district, the fucking Republicans here were like, you got to wait your turn. You can't primary anyone. We'll blackball you from everything and you'll never have a chance to do anything in politics again, fuckers. That's still how they feel. So then I had to run when it was an open election, when I wasn't primarying someone. Okay, so I tried. And then I went to the first event and my wife went to it. And I think she could tell I was a little nervous. And like, one thing about my wife is she will always support me. She is amazing. She's the best wife. She's the best mother. But she'll keep shit grounded. You all could blow smoke up my ass. Wow, Rob, you're the greatest debater. You deserve 1 million followers. And my wife will be like, you could have did better. I've heard you do better. You could have did this, like, in a good way, in a way that she knows works well with me. She's very good at that. And she knows that's how I operate best. And I remember, given that, the first event that I went to live, when we were coming back, and she's like, listen, I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass. You are far and away the best person there. Like, not even close. Like, they didn't know the Bill of Rights. They made fun of me when I brought up the 10th Amendment. I had the entire audience, like, laughing every time I talked, clapping for me. They weren't making any reaction at all for anyone else. And I remember thinking, like, really? And I tell people on my channel all the time, I'm like, everybody thinks, oh, I can't run for office. It'll be too much for me. And the truth is, that's not true. It's not that your representative is like way smarter than you or understands way more about, how to benefit the constituents than you. You know what they have over you? They know how to win elections more than you. But being able to win isn't the same as being a good governor or senator or congressman. Knowing to win is just that, knowing to win. That does not make you good at the rest of the shit, the actual governing. Most of those people look at it like a job. They don't even give a shit about their constituents. They say, oh boy, this will make my career. So you just giving a shit about your area and the people that live around you probably makes you more qualified than 80% of the people in Congress. Right there, because you actually give a shit. That beats 80%. But you don't know how to win, and I didn't know how to win. I don't have the money, I don't have the connections. That's where they're good. It was the same getting into sort of the streaming world. It feels daunting. When I started, it felt daunting, like, oh, I know I'm a good debater, but it was a while before I was debating. I would just I would talk to like an audience of 1, and I would sit here and talk for like 3 hours. I still didn't really find my voice. Because even someone like me that did debates in front of like 400-500 person audiences and auditoriums, like, you feel a little weird talking to a camera by yourself. You sound a little stilted and weird. You go back, you go to my YouTube channel, go filter by earliest videos. You'll see, like, I sound different, a little nervous. And you expect, wow, when you start running into other people, they're just going to have such a knowledge of politics and stuff. It'll just blow me away. And I'm just doing this as a hobby. But that wasn't really the case. And so when I see these bigger, your cat turds of the world, or your dilly meme teams of the world, or your Ian Miles Cheongs of the world, and it's like, okay, what the fuck ever. I understand they're bringing something to an audience that's, some people want the Jerry Springer. I get it. I talk all this shit, and if I spend the last 5 minutes here before I end going, let's talk about the Destiny drama today, and my editor clips that, that'll be easily this month's highest viewed video. If I started doing red pill content, my channel would be far bigger. Or I'd go the other way and become a lefty. Go the Hunter Avalon direction, right? So it's just dispiriting to watch, like, you know, and what started me on this rant was watching my friend Jim Bob's fucking comic be put out there by a bigger channel, and I'm like, God damn it. Jim Bob's the one who actually drew this shit. He's the one who came up with the idea. And I don't know anything about Jim Bob's personal life as far as, like, maybe he's financially set for life and he's like, I don't give a shit if I get the clicks or the money, I don't care about anything. Maybe that's true. Nonetheless, it just seems like shit. It seems like most of the engagements ran by a small group of people at the top, whether it be through their own talent or through Astroturfing. A small percentage of those people I think are talented or good, and the rest I think are just basically taking shit from other people or getting paid to say what they're supposed to say. And it just, I could name 10 people off the top of my head that deserve bigger audiences. EOD was on here, Aircraft Sparky, Casimir, Fabian Liberty, two of my ANCAP friends. They deserve way bigger audiences. Pentuple, Lactoid, they deserve bigger audiences. And I'm sure there's a bunch of other people that I'm forgetting. Hell, even Gibbs, my friend Gibbs, deserves a bigger audience. And so to watch these people, it's like, you know, put another JD Vance meme. And I'm not saying don't put memes up, don't joke. There's power in memes. There is. But you see this shit and it's like, oh, now you're getting paid to fucking, like, you're not making enough money getting, I wonder what your check from X alone is, Ian Miles Cheong, every month. But that's not enough. You also got to take money from advertising agents to tell people that they should be allowed to buy soda with food stamps. Jesus. Chief Wahoo deserves a bigger audience. Chief Wahoo, hell, you were kicked off the damn jersey in Cleveland. You're really good. I think I have a bad Chief Wahoo. Can't even go to an Indians game anymore. They'll always be the Indians. And in my opinion, top two sport movie, well, shit. Top 3 sport movie of all time, Major League. This is the first Major League movie. The second one's good too, but the first Major League movie, top tier. Fantastic cast, fantastic characters, plot's fantastic, great movie. But, so, bad day for Conservative Inc. Bad day for the Trump administration. Bad day for conservative influencers. Let the left take their victory lap today. No one likes them still. They're all shit. Look, Trump would have to fuck shit up royally for me to think that I made a mistake in voting for him over Kamala Harris. I mean, let's not forget, Kamala's team, along with Biden's team, wanted to create a ministry of disinformation for the purpose of basically banning people like me from online, claiming we're disinformationists. So, Ian Miles makes $5,000 a month on X. Unbelievable. $5,000 a month on X. The Atlantic piece is a work of fiction. I'll talk to you about Wednesday. I don't think that it is. What's a work of fiction? Like, it literally, all of the screenshots are fake? If those screenshots are real, and if Goldberg was on, and Goldberg got them, I don't even give a shit how, then it's a big deal. Because one, it means that someone let Goldberg on there, or second, it means that Goldberg somehow hacked his way on there. Either way, it's a big story. If someone let Goldberg on, that to me shows that the Trump administration still has not learned and is still collaborating with the very mainstream media people that are enemies with them. If the media, if the Atlantic hacked their way onto that conversation, well, then that's a whole nother ball of wax that's really bad in the opposite direction for the corruption of the establishment. But I don't think that's what happened. Now, are parts of it fake where it was like, hey, we were just dudes talking, there were no classified information shared? That may be true. There was none of the information that was shared publicly through the Atlantic seemed like it was classified. Goldberg saying, trust me, bro, there's other stuff I didn't share that may be classified. Maybe, maybe not. I'm not going to trust that fucking guy that lied about everything from the Iraq war to the suckers and losers hoax. I don't take him at face value for any of this shit. But we'll see. If Pete Hegseth says, this is bullshit, Goldberg wasn't on this Signals group chat. Bullshit. Someone leaked this to him. I'll be willing to hear that. That makes the Trump team sound less incompetent, though still appointing people that were willing to leak. Oh, so Hegseth's just straight up saying this never happened. These screenshots were faked. If that's the case, then I take back everything I said here. And that may be the case. That's more likely than the 40 chess shit. But if this was just like Goldberg got trolled, or Goldberg just straight out of cloth made this shit up, fine. And that's conceivable, I guess, that a bunch of trolls got together and was like, oh, we'll pretend to be Pete Hegseth and blah, 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 and then give access to Goldberg. I suppose that's conceivable, but I believe that would be pretty elaborate. We'll see, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, I got to wrap up. Hurry up, Sparky. I'll Why would he sit on the story 2 hours before the attack? Cause as much damage as possible around the time of the attack? I don't know. We'll see. Either way, if it would end up being fake, it would be hilarious to watch all of the lefties that flipped out about this now go, oh, but you care about mishandling classified documents? Again, now you care about that? Well, if he sat on it there are explanations for why he could have sat on it for 10 days. He could say he is a hawk that wants to go to war with Iran. So maybe he didn't disclose it immediately because he thought that it would have made Trump's team reconsider doing the attack. Instead, he waited for Trump to publicly announce, yeah, we're going to do this attack. Then sat on it until he thought the attack was basically imminent. Because Goldberg certainly is pro-Israel and we want to have as an aggressive a posture as possible against Iran. That's high stakes, though. If it turns out, I mean, I'll believe it when I see it. I haven't seen Pete Hegseth's commentary on this. Uh, from comments I heard from like the national security someone, they seem to acknowledge, yeah, this kind of happened. But we'll see, I guess. So I'll have to see what Hegseth said. So, anyways, thanks so much, everyone. We will try to do this again tomorrow around 7 p.m. Eastern. Of course, Wednesday I'll be home. Wednesday night we'll roll it back again, and we'll do things of this nature. One thing I wanted to say, it's going to be a long way out, so don't worry about any significant changes occurring now. But my son is going to go to kindergarten here starting in September. He will be going to Catholic school. So I'm very excited. We're going for his open house Wednesday. So I'm excited for him. I hope that he likes school. It's a very good school. It's where my wife went, and he'll have a class size of about like 4. And we know the teacher, who's a friend of ours. So I'm very excited. I think it'll be good. But when that occurs, I will start streaming on my days off work during the day. Because in the evenings, I want to spend time with him as much as possible. So if he's gone from like 8:30 a.m. until 2:30 p.m., I'll probably stream like 10 to 1 or something like that. That's months away, but I just figured I would let my audience know that that's probably the direction I'll go in, because I know most people are used to me streaming in the evening, so it might be a morning stream, and then in the evenings I could still, if I had a debate or something, do a debate later in that evening or whatever. But that's sort of the method that we're going to go. I need to talk to my editor, Black Elk. We're going to start getting this debate show running, and then I want to contact some more people here about setting up some debates and collaborations. So hopefully we'll have more news on that sort of stuff. Like I said, I was contacting someone who's sort of doing some Tim Pool stuff, seeing about getting back on that show. So that should be interesting. What do you want to debate on, Sparky? Blue's the best color. My favorite color is green. Like a dark green, an evergreen. That's my favorite. So, all right, we'll see you guys. Appreciate you all. As always, have a good one.